Coming up on Our World, an outpouring of support for victims as the investigation begins into the deadly shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs. Plus, we shine the light on a unique organisation in Los Angeles that allows members of the trans and non-binary community more than a safe space. And one of the largest emitters of methane gas in the world is being called out for declining a global methane pledge. Welcome to Our World. I'm Stephen Walker. In Colorado Springs, at least 5 people are dead and dozens of others wounded following a shooting at an LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs. A man suspected of opening fire at Club Q is being held on murder and hate crime charges. The charges are currently preliminary, and prosecutors had not yet filed them in court. 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich is being held. Meanwhile, a memorial continues to grow outside the club. People are leaving flowers, candles, stuffed animals and other items as the community continues to mourn the loss of those killed and injured. While trans and LGBTQ people continue to be targets of violence, places like the Connie Norman Empowerment Center in Los Angeles offer safe spaces for those who identify as trans and non-binary. I toured the organization, and here's a look at how they're making a difference.
My name is Chanel Lumia. I teach, lead, serve, and most certainly love. I'm an educator, and I am the building manager for the Connie Norman Transgender Empowerment Center. Our mission here is simply to empower our community through wellness management, financial literacy, yoga classes, and creating elevated experiences for our trans and non-binary communities. What I'm really proud about the center too is that at the helms of it is 2 trans women of color, Queen Victoria Ortega and Queen Shayla Demure, and they have been extremely instrumental in keeping this place opened and making sure that trans and non-binary individuals are hired to be in this space. In addition to that, Queen Victoria Ortega was part of last year's Out 100, so congrats to her and all her success. Congrats to Shayla Demure on leading 25 years for the Unique Women's Coalition. We are specific to trans and non-binary individuals, but we open the doors to anyone that wants to come and have a good time with us, so our allies are included. In February, we had I Love Me Day, which was centered around Valentine's Day, and so we created that event so our community knew that they had a place to come and feel loved and supported. So we had a meditation room, we had a Q&A with Gia Gunn from RuPaul's Drag Race, we had food, wine. It was quite an experience. Trans Joy! So Trans Joy, the mission is that we will do this annually, and this is the first year that we're doing it, and it is centered around music, entertainment, food, and just loving on each other and bringing your craft, your skill, your talents to the forefront for it to be celebrated and possibly, make some money off of it as well. In 2023, we are opening up a clinic, yes, specific to trans needs, and that's through the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. To find out about our next event, follow us at Flux_AHF and at the UWC official.
Hi everyone, my name is Gris Paloma Iris. My pronouns are she, they. You can refer to me as Paloma. I'm the media director at the Flux organization, which is an affinity organization of AIDS Healthcare Foundation based out of the Connie Norman Transgender Empowerment Center here in West Hollywood. I am sitting in the Flux studio. This room is specifically helping our trans and non-binary community by providing a safe, consistent, and well-equipped space for content creators, artists, performers to film content, take photos, and have a place to harness and grow their own talents. This space has empowered me by giving me the skills to ask for what I want and to not be afraid to take up space. I am so privileged to work with the many trans and non-binary folks that make up this working environment, the organizations that live and are based out of this center. And in my collaboration with them, They have empowered me to speak my truth, to see my truth as my power, and to not be afraid of sharing that truth online, on social media, on my own personal day-to-day. I've really found that authenticity, speaking honestly, has helped me live a happier and healthier life.
My name is Nicole Trella. I am a TV producer and developer for a major non-scripted TV production company, and I am also a composer and a musician. And the Connie Norman Center has helped me because it's giving me a place to go where I can meet and interact with other trans women. I think one of the scariest things when you go into transition is that first you lose a lot of people, a lot of people don't understand, your family doesn't understand, so you feel super alone. So to have a place you can come and feel welcomed and feel understood and feel beautiful is so important for our mental health. Just to know that if I'm really feeling low, I can go somewhere and have help, because we know that with trans women, like depression and vulnerability is a big issue. So I think it's just an amazing place. There's nothing really like it in the country, where you can come get health services, mental health services. You can come use their wonderful studio to shoot your film footage, or go shop in the wardrobe for free. There's so many things here and amazing events that you can use that really you can't anywhere else in the world. There's nothing like it.
India is one of the largest emitters of methane gas in the world, and their massive landfills are a big part of the problem. The Advocate Channel's Verdika Sud reports on how those landfills are endangering the lives of people living near them.
72-year-old shopkeeper Narayan Chaudhary suffers from chronic asthma. He says he almost died in April this year after the landfill behind his house, which is the size of a village, caught fire.
It was a massive blaze. It was difficult to survive. My face and nose started swelling. I was gasping for breath. I could barely drink or eat.
Chaudhary says had it not been for his friend who rushed him to hospital, he wouldn't be here today. It was a dangerous combination of methane, unsegregated garbage and record-high temperatures earlier this year that sparked massive fires, not only at the Bhalaswa landfill, but also here, at one of Asia's biggest dump sites. Government data from 2019 says this Ghazipur landfill is almost 15 stories tall and the size of 70 soccer fields. Methane is the second most prevalent greenhouse gas, and one company, GHG Sat, found on a single day in March, as trash decomposed, more than 2 metric tons of methane gas leaked every hour from the Ghazipur landfill.
When we take all the measurements that we took over a period of about a year, we found that the total emissions were equivalent to emissions from approximately 350,000 U.S. passenger vehicles per year.
And methane emissions aren't the only hazard. Dangerous toxins from landfills seep into the ground, polluting the water supply for thousands of residents living nearby. That's the color of the water, a pale, dirty yellow, and we're barely 100 meters away from the foothill of the landfill. In May, CNN commissioned 2 accredited labs to test the groundwater around the Bhalaswa landfill. The result? The groundwater within at least a 500-meter radius around the waste site is contaminated. According to the labs, it's unfit for drinking. In the first lab report, the total dissolved solids from all 3 samples were off the charts. Amid other parameters, levels of ammonia and sulfate were significantly higher than acceptable limits mandated by the Indian government. Results from the second lab report were equally worrying. Also, iron traces in the first sample for both lab reports were at least 8 times more than the permissible limit. Those findings are similar to the government's own study of water samples taken from the landfill in March last year. And while authorities bring in a supply of clean water, residents say there's simply not enough for this densely populated neighborhood, and that they must buy and consume purified water. Many use the contaminated water for daily life.
The water in our taps is red in color. We use this water for bathing, for washing our clothes. What choice do we have?
We spotted long queues outside government clinics. People complained of respiratory, skin and gastric issues.
My skin allergy started from the neck and then spread to other parts of the body. Medical treatment hasn't helped much. I now bathe in filtered water. That's helped reduce the itch.
A leading oncologist CNN spoke to has expressed concern over the long-term health impacts this contaminated water could have on residents.
I am concerned, and I would request the governments and the people to collect information at large of the health in this population, compare it to the others in the city, so that in 15-20 years' time, we are not looking back and regretting that we have a higher cancer incidence, higher health hazards, higher health issues, and we didn't look back and correct them in time.
As part of his Clean India initiative, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said efforts are being made to remove these mountains of garbage and convert them into green zones. That goal, if achieved, could stem the suffering of those residents living in the shadows of these dump sites and go a long way to curb the massive amounts of methane being released into the atmosphere. With more than 3,100 landfills, the task is monumental and so far unrealized. And if decisive action isn't taken soon, the consequences on the global climate fight could be catastrophic. And the toll on human life, unimaginable.
Based on our findings, our partners at CNN sent a series of questions to India's Environment, Health and Water Ministries. So far, there has been no response from the three ministries. Thank you for joining us for Our World. The Advocate channel is now streaming on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV and Android TV. You can also download our app on your Android and Apple devices.